Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com. Hunting is not easy. It never has been. It takes dedication, motivation, a lot of patience, and quality gear. If you manage a food plot, put up stands, or need just one more game camera, we can help at MidwayUSA.com. We opened our doors in 1977 and continue to put customers first by offering super fast, same-day shipping. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to MidwayUSA.com.
In season I have ever endured in my entire life. Like, it's nuts. I cannot even begin to even, I don't know. I'm into rutcation, and I don't think I've seen a deer over 2.5 years old since the start of it. So it's ridiculous.
The grind is real.
I think it's a serious real grind.
If I wasn't hearing the same thing from like just about everybody I talk to, I would be I'd be banging my head off the tree right now.
Right.
Which I kind of am. I kind of am banging my head off the tree a little bit, but it's like it's not just me. So
No.
It makes me feel a little bit better, but dude, I've been deflated, to say the least.
So it's, and myself included in that, like, I was super frustrated, and so where I had shot one of my bucks last year, I went in there because there was a camera in there, and it's been dead for a little bit, and I haven't had the time to go in there, so I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to go in there, freshen up that scrape, the whole 9 yards, and then I got in there, and I went to where the camera was, and there's no sign, no rubs, no scrapes. I pull the camera. I'm like, dude, there's no point in me doing this. No, like, not even, like, walking sign. Like, there's nothing. Like, it's a desolate, like, there's nothing there. And so I get to walk in, dude. And I'm looking for sign, walk, look for sign. And literally I covered miles, absolute miles. And literally, I found one little tiny rub on a stick the size of my thumb and a scrape the size of a pie plate. And I'm like, I just don't get it.
Hurry up, get in the tree.
Dude, you know, this is the craziest thing, Steve. I have a camera in my hand. I have my backup to, for the Troy Pottinger spray. I have it in little tiny bottles that would be in my backpack. I'm literally to the point where I saw the scrape and I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. I should probably put a camera on this. Like this is life changing, right?
No licking branch or anything.
No, and it was just, I'm just blown away, and I'm 4 days into rutcation, and I've seen maybe 10 deer all this whole entire time. Like most of them are does. But I've seen 2 bucks, and they're not together. They're not 3 years old. Like, like it's frustrating. I don't know what is going on, and I don't know. I would feel worse if I felt that there was other people that are in the same boat. I mean, if they weren't in the same boat, but there's so many people that are in the same boat. Like, I think it's like small little tiny pockets, because there's a couple of guys that are kind of in it, but they have primo supremo properties that's loaded with deer. Like, I mean, I'm not surprised, right? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, dude. This year of all years is like bow hunting public lands for the birds, bro. Like,
yeah,
it's just for, like, no joke. It's frustrating.
I was on my private piece, and that's where I've had the most luck, but I think
100%.
But yeah. I think I outwore my welcome there, though. That's the only thing that scares me is, like, and that happens pretty quickly, right? Like, when you're in those spots, like, I'm there 2-3 days, and then you're like, all right, I'm seeing less and less and less and less deer.
Right.
And the sign's really
Classic.
not that much, right? Because I'm putting the
Yeah.
hunting pressure on them.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking the other day about the lack of sign this year? And again, I think it's across the board. Like, even if you like follow some like Facebook posts and read the comments or whatever, like
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like anybody's really seeing like a ton of scrape activity or whatever. Dude, postseason scouting is going to be terrible this year.
Well, that was the other thing that I was thinking about when I'm walking around. I'm like, if there's no sign, like what's shed hunting season going to look like? Like what is it going to be to put things together for the pieces of the puzzle for next year?
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing.
It's going to have to be like a postseason scouting in August or September
That would
or
be preseason scouting.
yeah, I guess, but it's still post. Like you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like what are you going to do, man? Like
I hope we get a winter like last winter with a ton of ice to ice fish.
well, I mean, truth, like it's not even that. I mean, to be honest, Steve, I'm hoping that some of the snow sticks and I can get in the woods and follow some tracks and figure out where the deer actually are. Like that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I've never, ever in my life, ever been like tonight, tomorrow for today's hunt, whatever podcast land. Like I don't know where to go tomorrow. I don't even know where to go. Like I'm just like off kiltered. I don't even know what to do.
I know where you should go, but you won't listen to me.
What's that?
You know where I would tell you to go tomorrow.
You're saying to go to the wall, right?
Yes, 100%.
I can't rot in there. That's where I'm gonna end up, Steve. You know that's where I'm gonna end up.
Dude,
Like
it's like you have to.
yeah, but that camera only was alive one day. There hasn't been any deer on it ever since. They're in
When
there.
was that? Oh, that was
That was Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, today's Thursday. They're due.
Yeah, that's where I'm going in the morning. That's where
You
I'm
have
gonna
to.
rot the rest of my life out. Is I'm going
You'd be
there,
more
but
pissed off if you went somewhere else and it fires off again.
well, it's the only place that can fire off, right? Like I don't know what else
Yeah.
to do, so I'm gonna go rot it. But it's just you know what we shouldn't be having these thoughts. We should be bouncing them off that like, oh, dude, go there. That's definitely good. No, you know what? That other spot's really better. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just not those conversations just aren't there. It's.
Oh my
I don't
god,
wanna be the
dude! It's like the
perimeter of
complete
this.
opposite of last year.
Agreed. That's what I'm
Last year-
saying.
Last year it was like I was having a hard time making a decision where to go
Because it was good.
too good.
Yeah.
Too good. Like, do I go here or do I go here? Like,
Truth.
shit, or I could go there. This year I'm like, it don't really matter where I go.
It's tough because it's a pop in your balloon, and I don't want to come on here and just bitch, but and
No.
don't want to be that only person, but it's just it's truth, man. Like it's definitively truth because it's deflating. You sit in that spot and
Yeah.
you're like, dude, this camera hasn't gone off in 2 weeks. Like, why am
Yeah.
I sitting here? You know, and you kind of want to be on the ground. Seeing maybe if there's somewhere else or throw some crazy hit at it. I don't know. It's just
That's what I've been doing, and I've been having fun doing it. But in the same sense, it's kind of deflating too. But like with that being said, like I'm not really getting negative yet. Like I was
no.
for some reason I was like kind of getting a little down. Like man, I'm just like not in it this year at all,
Mhm.
right? But then I thought about it. I'm like, dude, I smashed them last year. I killed my first buck last year on November 8th.
Right.
Today's the 13th.
13th, right.
So like shit could get western next
Quick.
week, and all of a sudden you can turn around and be like, bam, that was easy, right? Like it's not
I'm
like
in
throwing
agreement.
in the towel yet, but it's just discouraging because, like I said, last year, like I had a lot of options, I had a lot of activity, like I knew of a lot of bucks, and like I knew on any given day I could pretty much flip a coin and go to one of my spots and have a pretty good chance I was going to be in some action. And that this year, I'm like, I don't really know where my best chance is to go to get in
Yeah.
some action, right? So it's funny, like Tuesday, Veterans Day, I went into a spot, dude, super deep on public, like way in there. It took me forever to make that walk in the dark, get in there, get set up, and like right away, dude, I wasn't feeling it. Like the wind was wrong for the buck, not for me.
Right.
Like what I could care less. But I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this isn't I like to sit on the downwind side of bedding, right? Because like to me, that's where a buck's going to cruise that edge, scent checking the thick, wind's coming out of the bedding. He can smell the does in there. I'm like, I'm not seeing it. Like, I just cannot visualize a buck coming on the side on this wind today. So, dude, by like 8:30, I was climbing down. And now I'm like freaking out because I'm like, it's freaking Veterans Day. It's 8:30 and I'm on the ground. Like, this isn't good.
Right.
But I had a game plan. I was going to double all the way back around to the other side and come in the other side. So now I'd be on like the downwind side of all this laurel and stuff. So I like kind of eased my way in there, dude, and I just couldn't find anything. Like, I just didn't see anything where I'm like, oh, this is the spot to set up. Like, I could definitely, this is a spot, right? So I end up scouting around, and there's so much. I almost end up back. I'm like 100 yards from where I started, and this was like a half a mile loop that I made, and like I'm almost back to my original pin. So I'm like, I don't know what to do now, right? Well, I'm sitting there. I'm looking at Spartan Forge. I'm like, well, I can just drop into this bottom, cross the main road that I come in on that I'd already walked up and down twice already today, cross the road and go up the hill to the other side. I had a camera in there last year with a couple bombers, right? And I only hunted it. I think I only hunted that spot one time last year. So I'm like, I don't even know what's going on up there. So I just went up the hill, got up there, like you said, found a couple small rubs. But I was like, it's something.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a deer in here.
there's
at
a
some
sign
point.
of life, right? Yeah. And found my old scrape. It wasn't open. The licking branch was gone. Now, I don't know if you remember or not. Last year, I had a big buck come in that was like the week before opening day of bow,
Yeah.
and he ripped that licking
That's
branch,
right.
Like, it was stuck in his antlers.
Yes.
And he ripped it out, and I hiked all the way in there like the weekend before opening day.
I do remember
and
this.
I zip stripped a licking branch back on, and it got through the season.
That's
When
the
I
one.
pulled the camera in February, say, the licking branch was there. Well, now the licking branch is gone again. So I'm like, well, let's get in a tree. So I got in a tree by like, I think it was 10:30. I was finally in a tree again, and I hung out up there for the rest of the day and did not see a squirrel. Not even a squirrel.
And that's what's going on, dude. That's the thing. So Veterans Day for me was I got into a tree on a piece of private, had super good, shit was going good, man. Like watched a big buck cruise to my straight out in front of me. He was cruising from my left to my right. I grunted at him. Next thing knows, the small buck comes charging in, dude. I'm like, oh, dude, this is about to be fire. My phone goes off, and there's a giant at a spot that I knew that I should have been. And then you contemplate in your head, right? You're like, well, what do I do now? What do? I get out of the tree and go and chase after that deer, right? And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I got there, and that
was another thing that happened when I was on the ground Veterans Day. One of my cameras went off with two bucks. Neither one of them were really shooters. Like, I wasn't really like tore up that I wasn't there. But like, it doesn't help the mental game when you're on the ground looking for a place to hunt and cameras are going off where you're like, shit. Like, they're on their feet, they're moving, they're checking scrapes. It's 9 a.m. on Veterans Day, and I'm like putzing around. This is not good.
This is not good. Yeah. And it's frustrating because you just don't know what to do. And then I went back to the spot where the big buck was. I sat there. I didn't see anything by 12:30, 1 o'clock. I went back to the first original spot, and I sat there and I saw 5 does and 2 small bucks. And it's like, and then I left my stuff in there, and I went back in there this morning, and I literally didn't see a mouse, like nothing.
Yeah,
not a single deer, and it's frustrating because it's like, what do I do? I'm just hopping back and forth. I'm gonna rot it out tomorrow, rotting it out from sun up to sundown.
I would give that spot a whole day sit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of buck actions in there in previous years. This time of the year, this is what I hunt there the hardest. I know it's bound to happen. The problem is this, and the biggest issue with that spot is it's a flat, right? And it's like there's no terrain feature that I'm hunting. There's no like craziness.
There's a break in the wall.
There's a
That's a
break
terrain
in the
feature.
wall. That is a terrain feature, but there's no bedding. There's no like
Yeah.
it's tough, right? Because you just look around. I don't know, and then you think in your head, you're like, well, if my wind is northwest, like where are those deer potentially going to come from? So I get a little weird, and I don't know, whatever. It's all good. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
You start to second guess, and especially when it's slow like this, I guess. You know, some guys are having a little bit of rut action and they're chasing, and, you know, it seems spotty, but it could pop off anywhere, any day.
Yeah. I don't. From my observation, everything seems about a week late to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying the actual physical breeding is late. Like I'm a kind of a believer where that's going to happen the same
Right.
no matter what. But the like scrape week seemed a week late to me. Like traditional scrape week, my cameras are pretty dead, but the following week, all the cameras started going off.
Right.
So I feel like everything activity wise is just a little late this year. That's just from my observations with what I'm
People
seeing in
still
the
seeing
woods
heavy
and the
fighting
cameras
right
and like
now and that kind of stuff. Like that's
and just seeing you always see the little bucks doing dumb shit first, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's on," and it's like, kinda, but it's just the little bucks being dumb, right? And
yeah.
like, I forget what day it was, maybe Sunday. Sunday, like right off the rip, I had like a 4-pointer at like 15 yards. And then like maybe half hour later, I had a spike buck at like 20.
Hmm.
So I'm like, all right, baby, like where's your daddy or stepdaddy or somebody?
That's what
Some
everybody's
daddy.
saying across social media. Where's your daddy? Where's your
Yeah,
grandpappy? Like nobody's
yeah.
seeing them. Like where
Bro,
are
I'll
they?
take a stepdaddy at this point. Like,
Yeah. I'll
side
take a
chick or something,
step
or
daddy.
side
I don't care.
dick, whatever you call it. Yeah, and then check this out. That same spike buck from Sunday. Uh, he's a spike buck, but he looks like he's got a little junk. Like he wants to like have something there, but he's still spike. He showed up on camera this morning. He snapped the whole spike off.
Oh.
Yeah,
He got
which is
in.
kind of hard. Like you, but a spike that's tough. Like you can see like a small basket getting hung up in in a fight, but like a spike.
He got into a
But whatever.
domestic with his stepdaddy. That's why.
Yeah, got caught by the hubby.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyways,
Do you?
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's it's been a grind, but I'm not discouraged. The best
No.
is yet to come, And I even like historical dates, man. Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago with Doug, right? Like it's hard to argue like those November 6th, 7, 8, 9, 10, Veterans Day, the 11th, are like
Mm,
primo days to just catch cruisers. But like historically, man, I've always been a fan of like 15 through 20, early 20s of November, right? Because that's that 6th through the 11th time frame, and even like maybe even like the 4th through the 12th, say. Those are cruisers like looking for like that first doe,
right.
which is always fun if you catch it. And if you catch it, you catch it. But if you don't catch it, you're banging your head off the tree, right? But like, dude, once it pops open, like after what most guys would call like lockdown, which also could have been what was going on the last week,
Couple of days. Right.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Once lockdown pops open, dude, it's balls to the walls, man. They're just running all over. All the does are ready to breed, and they're just running around trying to scarf them up, right?
Mm.
And like, I don't know. Historically, that's when I've always had my best encounters.
It's about to happen the next couple of days. You just got to be in there and hunt it hard and just get after it. Killer's going to kill. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get discouraged. You just got to hunt. You got to do your thing, and it'll all come together one and one. I mean, I know we get down this every year. We can go back to last year's episode at the same time. We were saying the same thing. Like, it is what it is. You just hunt and hunt hard, and that's the most important thing. And some guys are hunting harder than others, right? That's why they're successful. But
yeah,
what do you got
yeah.
for?
I'm not.
Oh, go ahead.
Scott File
Oh,
was a opening night coyote.
ooh, Scott. So Scott was actually, he's a veteran, which is super cool, and he was actually I met him in bear camp a couple of years ago, and he was up there with the John Burke Foundation. Remember we had John Burke
Mm-hmm.
on? He was up there with those guys. That's actually where I met Scott. And actually, funny enough, I know he'll end up posting it on the group, but our good buddy Tyler, who was the guide up there, he shot a 12-pointer that dressed at 211 pounds. It's just like this big giant palmated thing. He'll end up posting. It was a super cool buck, and but that was about it. That's all there was for Killer's
buddy.
Corners.
That's all I got.
Yeah, it was.
I'll tell you what.
slow.
I made a pretty good executive decision the other night, though.
What's that?
I was pulling an all-day sit. I was getting sick too. Or I shouldn't say I'm getting sick. I am sick now, but at this time I was getting sick.
Yep.
And I was like late into an all-day sit, and I was looking at the radar, and the rain was coming. And I'm like, I wanted to grind it out until last light, right? And I'm like looking at the radar, and I'm like, I gotta go, dude. Like it looked like 4:15. It was gonna be purple on the radar,
And it
and I'm
was.
like, oh yeah, dude. I bailed at like 3:45, and I had to pull my whole set.
Yep.
Right, like I wasn't leaving it. So like I started packing up in the rain. It's raining. I'm getting wet, and I packed everything up, dude. And I got to the truck, and it was like monsoon. I'm like, that was probably one of the best decisions of my life.
I don't think, did I hunt that day? I'm not sure if I did or not, but I remember being at home. Oh, I met my little brother at home because he wanted to take out a saddle because he's got a little buck that he's chasing. I don't even know how big it is, but it's a buck he's chasing.
What'd you call it, little?
I don't know. I just said it like that because I don't know, but it's probably a big buck. I don't know. It's a buck, and he wanted to just kind of go through the motions of the saddle, and I'm in the backyard, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna go out? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out. I'm like, it's supposed to rain, dude. No sooner did he leave, and about 15-20 minutes goes by, so I'm like, oh yeah, he's probably just getting to the tree or in the tree now, and it is monsoon.
Was this in the This is in the evening?
In the evening, yeah.
It's probably Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was Sunday actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was doing a bunch of stuff and I didn't end up going out for the. And he's like, "You want to go hunt with me?" And I'm like, "No, I know better. Like I seen the radar." And then he was in the tree, and I'm like, "How's the rain?" He's like, "It feels good." I'm like, "Whatever you say, dude." I don't mind rain, but monsooning, bro, like that's not fun.
Yeah, I also don't mind it in gun season. I love it.
In gun season it's good.
I freaking hate sitting there with my bow and the rangefinder, and my bow's getting soaked, and the blood trail. Right, like a deer comes in and I smoke it, and it's pouring. Like I don't know. I
just doesn't feel good.
Give me the gun during the rainstorm, and I don't bother me. Man.
Yeah, I don't like bow hunting in the rain. I never have. I'm not a fan. It's just a scary thing. Watch the biggest buck of your life walks in, and you don't get a shot at it. But all is good. But
yeah, I need to kick this cold before this weekend, though. I know that.
Yeah, before you hunt it hard. That'll be the worst.
Sucks when you're sitting there all day, and like all you want to do is blow your nose and cough, and brutal, dude.
It's the absolute worst. But well, I hope that everyone gets out there and gets after it. Make sure to share your stories over on the Outdoor Drive Facebook page so we can shout you out for the Killer's Corner. And until
it's gonna get good, dude.
It's gonna get real good. Some big bucks.
It's gonna pop this weekend.
Yep. Stay after it.
It's all gonna change.
Oh, speaking of this weekend, do you know what I have to do on Saturday?
Your nephew's birthday?
No. Close.
Work affair?
No. Close.
I don't know.
I gotta bring Kason hunting.
Oh, I knew that. I talked to Steven. Oh, happy birthday, Stephen Carpenter.
Yeah, happy birthday,
I texted him on his birthday, and he told me that you were taking him out.
Yeah, he had asked me the other day, and he was like, "Hey, man, like, Kason want to go hunting or something in the backyard," and I was like, "Well, you know, if he does or he wants to go," and he's like, "No, you can't. I'm not with you." Blah blah blah. And I says, "Dude, I'm around. If the kid wants to go hunting, like, let's go hunt. You know, I don't mind taking him out hunting." So, he had asked me, so we get to go to club property this weekend. So that'll be kind of cool. I hope he smacks a big one. And Steve's at work, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "Don't worry, you have to pay for the mount." And he goes, "No, you're bringing him hunting. You have to pay for the mount." I says, "Well, he's not shooting a big one then." So it'll be kind of cool, but yeah, it'll be a good weekend. So I hope everyone's out there hunting.
Yeah,
and getting
I
after it.
think after we just spent the last half an hour bitching and moaning about how bad it has been and
We had to get
frustrating
it
it's
off
been,
our
I
chest.
do. Yeah, no, but I do truly think like this weekend, it's gonna be, the conditions look good, like the weather, like it doesn't. We're not have that like shitty wind, dude, that
Yeah.
we had, and rain. Like Saturday's looking really good, weather wise, calendar day wise. Like I think it's gonna bust open
And
and
Sunday's going to
everything.
change the wind. So we've been hunting this northwest wind, and it's going to go southeast. It's going to flip right around, and now we can hunt other spots, which
Well,
would be
there's a
good.
front coming with it, isn't there? Rain on Sunday.
I didn't think so. It was like a little rain in the afternoon Saturday, and then it changed, I thought. But,
I thought it was Sunday rain, and that's why the wind was gonna flip with the front.
oh.
Periods of rain early in the morning, mostly cloudy, increasing winds, 39-mile-an-hour gusts.
On
Sweet.
Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, whatever.
Welcome to the show.
Just keep on hunting. Well, let's get
Season
on.
can't come soon enough.
Let's get on
I
with it.
might shoot that broken off spike at this point.
Oh, jeez. Well, all right.
I
Until
don't
next
think I've
week.
ever shot a 1-pointer before.
Yeah, well, we'll continue this story next week, Steve, when Steve shoots the 1-pointer, right?
I might do it.
I thought about shooting that fork horn yesterday because it was the closest thing I seen to anything with horns, and I was it almost got it. But
Yeah. Hey, you know what? One other thing I meant to ask you, because I just realized what podcast that we're dropping today.
yeah,
What's the deal with that fly shop up there that does the fly tying night?
JT's flies. I wonder,
When do they
Big
start doing
Lou. I'll reach out to Lou this week and see what's going on for the winter fly ties. Normally it's after deer season because a lot of those
Perfect.
guys are
Yeah.
deer hunters. But I'll reach out to Lou this week. He's probably listening. He might even reach out to me after. He's a listener of the podcast. So, but I'll reach out to Lou at JT's Fly Shop
Yeah.
and see if we can't get up there and check in with those guys. And I want to get on that
Yeah,
fly
that'd be
tying
sweet.
thing.
They start that up in like January or something.
I think
after
that's what
deer
they
season.
said. They said when it's super cold,
Yeah.
nobody else wants to be doing anything.
Perfect.
Because they're all still all salmon and steelhead fishing right now. So, but yeah, no, good call on that. Good call on that. So, cool. Well, let's get on with the show, man. And until next week. The Outdoor Drive Podcast.
No, the deer story is probably the craziest buck I've killed with a bow, for sure.
As a follower on the Instagram story, it was pretty. It was like the process was like. So I got to hear, like, how did this happen?
Listen, dude. So I've been scouting in West Virginia. We have 3 or 4 bow only counties, and what that means is like there's no rifle hunting. It's only bow hunting. And it's a 1 buck limit. I think you can shoot some does if you buy the extra tags or whatever. But essentially for a long time now, I don't know the exact date that it went over to bow only county or bow only hunting. But for a long time now, the deer have only been hunted with bows. And they don't allow crossbows or anything like that either. So it's just like recurve, compound bow. And although I fished down south, like southern West Virginia quite a bit, I'd never hunted down there. And then one time, I think it was like 2 years ago now, I was fishing a stretch of water and I was walking like a flat back to my car. I was just like got out of the river and I was walking flat. And I looked down and there's like a big 6-point shed. Like would have been a 6-point whitetail. It's probably, maybe a 3-year-old deer tops. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I found a shed, not even looking for it. And I was like, this is probably owned by like a coal company or a logging company or something, because that most of the private land in West Virginia is owned by, like some sort of mining company or log company or something like that. And then to my shock, it was public land. And I was like, oh, this is all public land through here? Like I had never paid attention. I didn't really realize that. So then I went back and I was like, you know what? I'm going to scout this out and bow hunt this next year. And And I think the following year I didn't get to bow hunt it. I didn't do anything on it actually. And then this year, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna actually like put a considered effort into like bow hunting it, because I had like halfway scouted it on accident by fishing a couple times. And I was walking through this section that I kept seeing like lots of scrapes and big rubs and stuff. And I was like, there's got to be some older deer in here. So I went in there and I set up like a couple trail cameras. And that was this year. I put up a couple trail cameras this year. And I went and checked the trail cameras, and quite honestly, I didn't get much. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks. I thought like this was gonna be like a sure thing. I was gonna get big bucks on there. I was gonna have something to hunt, nothing. So then I was like, okay, well, let me like rethink this whole public land idea, because there's a couple different sections of public land in those handful of counties. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna start looking around and look for like places that I can access that are easy but not too easy to access, because there are quite a few hunters in the area. And finally, I settled on this one area, and I dropped a pin, and I was like, I'm going to go in here and just check it out and see what it looks like. So I went in there, set up a camera, left 2 weeks, came back, checked the camera, nothing on the camera. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Or there's like one like little 8-point, like 2-year-old 8-point in the camera. And I was like, didn't have my bow with me or anything, but season had opened. Which you think, like, why wouldn't you take your bow with you? Great question. Just pure stupidity, honestly. And also, it was hot. It was like, in the 70s. I was just wearing like fishing apparel, so like a sun hoodie and like just some REI pants. Like nothing, not hunting at all. Because it was warm, and I specifically had gone up midday because I knew it was warm. I was like, midday, all the deer are going to be bedded down. I'm going to go in, check the cameras, get out, move them if I want to. And I go in, and I went in and checked the camera, nothing on there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to like scout out a little bit more, because I was like, I might as well. It's middle of the day. Nothing's going to be moving anyways. And like, I really don't know what this section of public looks like. So I was walking out this ridge. And I got up this ridge, and there were some ATV trails, which I wasn't too thrilled about. Like, people had been out there, even though I don't think technically you're allowed to drive your ATV in there. People always find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm walking out the main spine of this ridge, and I look and I see a trail camera, and I'm like, ugh. So then I like walk behind the trail camera, because I just didn't want my picture to be taken. And I kept going out, saw like another trail camera or two on the ridge, and I was really just like, dude, this is just not going well for me. Clearly someone else was hunting this, and it was like a cell cam too. Like someone had put money onto it. They was like locked on the tree. I was like, all right, there's like some dude in here that's hunting that's like somewhat serious. So then I was like, I walked out the ridge far enough, and I stopped seeing people sign. I started seeing a bunch of scrapes and stuff. And I was like, okay, so the bucks are hanging way out here, a lot further than this guy's hunting. Whether he knows that or not, I don't know. So then I was like, I better walk back, and I'll just grab the trail camera, because I'd left it back on the tree like, a mile back. So I was like, I'm just going to grab that trail camera and then come back over here and set this trail camera way out this point further, was the plan. But then I was walking back. I was like, man, I don't really want to walk around these trail cameras very much. Like, I didn't want some people to know I was in there. I was like, I'm just going to drop off the point of this ridge and like walk. It was the country in this area is like super rugged. I mean, hills are like dang near straight up and down. How the trees cling on to them, I'll never know. It's the most rugged country. I mean, short of going to the Rocky Mountains, like that rugged of terrain is like, I've never seen it anywhere else. There's only a couple places I've seen that type of terrain. But there's all sorts of like old mining flats and logging flats and stuff that are cut through these mountains. So I was using OnX, and they have like the LiDAR or whatever, that feature that all the apps have now. And I could see like an old logging road, like a bench that went around the side of this hill, so I could avoid the trail cameras on top of the ridge. So I just hopped down like, I dropped probably 50 feet in elevation or something like that, and was walking this old logging road around this hill to avoid the human activity on top. I was going around there, and there's this big thicket as I come around this logging bench on this straight up and down slope. And I'm just walking through I'm walking like at a clip through this thicket, not hunting even in the least bit, with one thing on my mind is to get this camera and get it back out to where the deer sign was. And I'm walking, and I catch movement, and I look down the hill, and probably 20, 25 yards, this deer stands out of its bed. And it's this like really nice buck. And I looked over and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Because my first thought is, this deer's pegged me immediately because I'm not trying to be quiet. And I don't even have my bow. And I look down the hill and it's like it's like a really nice buck. And like West Virginia, we don't, the state doesn't necessarily produce a bunch of like Boone and Crockett whitetails. So if you can kill a buck that's like in that Pope and Young size range, that's like, you're really doing something. That's a big mountain buck, because there's not much food. The deer population isn't great in a lot of these areas. So I look down and see this deer. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm sitting there like so upset with myself. I even like filmed a video on my phone. I just zoomed in on it, like the buck standing there just looking at me, and then zoomed out and then videoed myself walking. And I sent it to my dad and my brother, and I was like, this is why you always bring your bow when you're scouting. Like the most rookie mistake ever. And I know better. I've been hunting for over a decade now. I should have known better. Like my dad has drilled that into my head a million times. He's like, if the season is open, take your weapon, whatever, whether it's gun or bow. So I was pretty upset with myself, but I was sitting there thinking, I was like, that buck stood up and looked at me. And one of the interesting things about like these bow only counties is that the deer, from what I've seen, don't tend to run from you. And if they do run, they don't run very far because they've never been shot at with a rifle. Like they've never like conceived danger at any range. Like, and a lot of those deer probably don't get hunted at all. And then the ones that do get killed, a bow's silent. They may not even know what happens. You got to be pretty close, like 30 yards or closer to even like have any real danger from humans. So I've noticed that the deer and the bucks that I've seen in those counties, they don't run very far. Like you jump them and they run out to like 40 yards and they just stand there. And like, I've gone out there before and like, not been hunting and like jumped a nice buck and then just walked, and they'll just walk with me. Like there's something about them. They just don't quite spook unless you get closer, like you pop their little bubble, so to speak, which is probably, 30 yards or so. And I watched that buck and I just walked on past him and he just watched me for a while. And like, right as I was about to turn the corner of the point and get out of the side of the deer, I looked over my shoulder one time and the buck was still standing there on the same flat. And the only thing he did is he had his like head cocked to the side looking at me like, like a dog does when he's confused as to what the heck just happened. Yeah, the buck just like cocked his head and looked at me and he was like, what is that guy doing? Like
even he couldn't believe you didn't have your bow with you.
He's like, is this guy, and I'm sure another thing is like, there's lots of ATV usage in that area. So it's possible that like he's seen people quite often and, he just stands there and nothing ever happens because it's a bow only county. And, I've seen this before in West Virginia, and I'm sure it happens wherever you whitetail deer hunt, that especially on public land where it's like heavily wooded and stuff, a lot of times the deer just learn, like if they just don't move, like people just walk right past them. It's very difficult to see a deer if it's not moving. So I think that could have also played a part in it. But I was walking out of there and I was texting my brother and I was like, I can't believe that stupid deer stood there. I could have shot that with my bow. And then I was sitting there and I like texted Andrew. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get my bow. Like, because it was about a 3-mile round trip to get back to the car and back, like a mile and a half each way. But I remember I was like, well, I have to go and get my camera anyway. And I wanted to take my camera out that point. So I was like, I'll just go all the way back down to my car, grab my bow, which I had brought with me in the car. I just didn't take with me up the hill. Okay. So at least I did that. I always stay prepared. Like if it's bow season, I try to keep my bow in my vehicle just in case. So I was like, okay, I'll go get my bow and then I'll just walk back up there to take the trail camera back up and put it out this point. But on the way there, I'll drop off that, off the side of that mountain again and walk that same logging road. And if the deer's still there, then I'll try to kill it. So then I go all the way back down, grab my bow, get everything together. And then I walk all the way back up the hill, which is not easy. I mean, I'm huffing and puffing. It's probably been an hour, 2 hours since then. I don't exactly know. I didn't keep track of time, but at least let's say an hour and a half, give or take. And I got back in there Still not wearing camo, still wearing nothing. I was like, I'm not putting anything on. And I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to walk in there just like I had before. I'm not going to be hunting. I'm going to walk at a clip. I'm going to make noise. I'm going to break branches, because clearly whatever I did before had worked on that deer. So I was like, I'm just going to stand up straight, walk like I was walking before. I'm not even going to look down at the deer until I'm going to side eye it, but I'm not even going to look down at that deer and stop until my bow's drawn. So that's what I decided I was going to do. And I walked down in there, and I was watching down there, like side-eyeing down the hill. And I finally got up to where there's like, it wasn't even a full flat below the logging road. It was just one little spot where like a tree had fallen over. And it was so steep that the downed tree, like the root ball from the downed tree had created like a semi-flat spot in the mountain. So I knew where he was. So I was walking down, I was side-eyeing, and lo and behold, I come up just around the corner to where I think I can see it. And I look over and I see that deer stand up again. It just bedded straight back down where it was sitting. So I just walked up and I was like, all right. So I had my binoculars on. I was like, I'm afraid I don't want the string to catch on this, because I hadn't shot my bow with my binoculars on. So I probably would have been fine. But as I was walking, I dropped the binoculars on the ground, took an arrow out of the quiver, knocked the arrow, put the release on the string of the bow. And then I walked up. And literally, I slowed down my pace a little bit so I could draw while I was walking. And then I like looked down the hill a little bit and kept walking, because it was kind of standing in a thicket. And I kind of kept walking until I could see like his vitals, And I was already drawn back. So then I just like swung the bow around and anchored. And I waited for a second. The deer at first I like almost shot a shot that I shouldn't have taken, as in I was just too excited. And I like felt my finger touch the release, and I was like, relax, the deer's not going anywhere, you know this. And I settled down and then took a shot, and the deer like hopped and went straight down into the steep hollow and died down at the bottom of the hill. So it was just incredible. And then I texted my brother and my dad. I was like, yeah, so remember that deer I sent you the video of? He didn't move and he's now dead. And they were just like, no way. I was like, yeah, don't ask me how that happened. But yeah, so that was just absolutely the stupidest, like most insane deer kill that I've had, or whitetail deer kill that I've ever had, I think. But I also don't walk around and still hunt that much with my bow.
Right.
Especially in the early season when they haven't been hunted much yet. So I don't know. It gave me an idea. I was like, maybe I should still hunt with my bow early season more. Like scout, but like actually hunt with my bow, like
scout
early October.
Scout with your bow.
We're when nobody's hunting, even in an area like that, I'd never been there in my life. That was the first time I'd ever stepped foot on that mountain, and it was just going off a gut instinct and thinking like, well, partially because there's people pressure up on top of the mountain, but also just knowing that like those mountain bucks, they're not going to bed on like a flat on top of the ridge, because that's where the people are. Mm-hmm. Like the hardest place for the people to get is where those deer are going to be hanging out. And this just happened to be a straight up and down hillside of a mountain and a semi thicket, like a thicker strand of trees. And that's where he was bedded. And I really don't think he'd probably ever seen a person there. And apparently he saw me and didn't think I was that much of a threat, probably because I was wearing a stinking sun hoodie and everything else. He's like, this dude's he's surely not gonna try to kill me, And I had people respond to me on like my story when I posted on Instagram, and they're like, dude, if you'd been wearing camo, you'd never have killed that deer. And I was like, there might be something to that. I don't know,
For almost 50 years, Midway USA has been America's go-to source for just about everything for shooting, hunting, and the outdoors. Go to midwayusa.com to see our latest deals and promotions and take advantage of our super fast same-day shipping. If you need a cooler, a new fishing rod, another rifle, ammo, or a reloading press, you can find it all at midwayusa.com. Thanks for your business.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Midway USA's online gun shop includes an extensive selection of handguns, rifles, shotguns, and receivers. We've made it extremely easy to browse and buy guns from the convenience and privacy of your own home. Simply pick from our extensive offering, ship it to your local FFL, and you'll be shooting in no time. For just about everything for guns, shop midwayusa.com.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm blown away at the fact that you were able to actually do that. And you're talking like I haven't seen the buck, so it's like it's a big mature buck. Like it's that.
Yeah, it ended up being a 10-point. It's probably right around that Pope and Young's score area. It's probably a 5-6-year-old deer.
Wow.
I actually decided to get it mounted just because it's such a crazy story.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it mounted so I could point at that and be like, listen, wait till you hear the story of that deer. But the taxidermist even mentioned, he was like, yeah, it has like a gray face.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a really red deer, but it had gray on its, face and nose. And he said, usually that means that deer is probably a little bit older. So, I mean, I don't know how old the deer was, but he's not a young deer.
Yeah, that's just kind of the point I was trying to make, was that it's not
A no-doubter shooter, put it that way. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's shooting that deer.
And West Virginia,
The thing that stands out to me the most about that story, right, is like, so we have a saying here on the podcast, kill is going to kill. Like, you're going to find a way, figure out, like, no matter what the obstacles are, like, you don't make excuses, right? So, like, how many people easily just are, like, not going back to their car to get the bow and come all the way back in there, right? Like, that's
pretty much everybody.
That's a decision, right? And, like, you decided, like, no, I'm gonna spend this hour and a half to go back again. And like in your head, you probably thought you're gonna do all this for nothing. He's not gonna be there when you come back. Right?
I thought there was I thought at tops like a 10% chance that deer was going to be there. And the only reason I did it is because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I know where that deer was. That is where that buck was living, like bedded there living. And I'd had just enough experience in the area that I was like, I've jumped bucks before, walked past them, and they don't seem to care that much because they've only ever been hunted with archery equipment. They're just not, I don't know, that it's hard to describe because I've only ever hunted up to the last couple of years of my life. I only ever hunted like everywhere pretty much allows rifle hunting at this point. It's like there's not very many deer populations that have never been rifle hunted. And when you get to a population that's been rifle hunted, they get jumped. And if they don't run, they're probably dead. So it ends up like through like a sort of natural selection, gets the deer that are really wily. They're going to take off with their tail down. Like they use terrain to their advantage and stuff. But in like those bow only counties, like it could breed a deer, like a deer could get really old and just not ever run from people. It just has to run into the right people and it's fine. But yeah, I was gonna say like that was the side profile, and then
the Instagram story was fire though. It was like, this is why you always bring your bow, and then it was like, walk 3 miles, got my bow, and then like the next picture's a dead deer.
It's just like, oh, by the way, it actually worked out for me, but I don't recommend you do it this way. This just is really stupid. But I'm also just like, I'm the type of person that's just like, dude, like I knew it was a really nice deer, and I was like, I'd really kick myself if I didn't at least try. Like, could I have gotten on that deer later on in the year maybe? Because I'm sure some of the sign that I was seeing on that ridge was from that buck. Just because I doubt there's a bunch of really nice mature bucks living on that ridge like that. There's probably just that one. Could I have gotten on that deer later? Sure. But it was like, I know where the deer is right at this moment. Even if the deer has moved slightly, like if he walked out the hill or back out the hill or dropped off the hill or who knows what he had done when I had left, I was like, there's still a chance that I'm going to walk through there and that deer's not going to be that far from where he was. And he's just going to stand there and look at me again. So I was like, it's worth a shot, So.
Plus, it worked out good because you got to punch an early tag before you went on your elk hunt, which was only, a week or two later?
Yeah. I did the first general, like, OTC elk season in Colorado. So that was, like, sometime in the 20s, I left on Halloween, and there was still a couple days of season left. So I think it was like the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. I don't know.
What
Now,
I lose track of days sometimes.
was this your first year doing that, or have you done this before?
So I went out and elk hunted last year for the first time ever with my brother. We didn't see a single elk though, so I'm not going to pretend like it was successful. We see elk all the time on the side of the road on private property, yada yada yada, but we didn't see any elk on public land. And then this year we went out, and I actually just bought an OTC tag, and we actually saw a bunch of elk. We actually saw some really big bull elk. I just don't. The difference between elk hunting out west and like whitetail hunting out east is so dramatically different that I was kind of like just pretending to do what I'd seen on TV shows essentially and hoping it worked. But we learned a ton, and we actually ran into some guy. He was like in his 60s, and he had been packing an elk. He shot an elk, and he'd been packing an elk out for like the third day or something like that. Solo, by the way, solo dolo, packing an elk out in his 60s. And I talked to him for a while, and I learned a lot just from hunting and talking to other elk hunters on the mountain and stuff like that. So I'm pretty confident that next year I'll at least like get a chance. But
Now, was this bow season or rifle?
rifle for elk.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rifle. We saw some huge bulls, like some bulls that were like, dude, we thought those only existed on TV, that like giant bulls, but it's just like where they were, with the wind they had in their favor, like they were dang near unapproachable, and I just wasn't sure how to deal with it, and I didn't know what to do, and I basically lollygagged around and made some like half-hearted efforts, and then one day I went in there and there's 3 other hunters in the basin, and those elk were nowhere to be seen, and I was like, oh, time to move on. They didn't kill the elk, but they for sure, if they're walking around in the basin where those big bull elk were, they're not going to hang out there and just be like, oh yeah, I think I'll walk right through here again today. They're gone. So
What do you think some of the trials and tribulations that you have to go through hunting from the east to the west?
you can just, the scale is so much different. Like when I talk about, like if I'm in West Virginia and I'm hunting the Appalachian Mountains and I'm, looking for a buck, and it's like, oh, there's a buck. The buck runs this one ridge line or whatever. Like his home range might be on this ridge system or something like that. And you're like, all right, let me see if I can figure out what point he's betting on today, or like maybe he took a doe across the valley or something. But like it's relatively small scale in comparison. Like theoretically, I could walk most of the area that the buck's probably home range is. When I'm like elk hunting out west, it's like, yeah, oh, there's the bull 1,500 yards away for the 3rd day in a row. And then you go over to where that bull is, and then he comes out 1,500 yards away the other direction. It's like the amount of ground that those elk cover, and it's just like, for example, one day we went out there, there's a bachelor herd of 3 or 4 huge bull elk. They went up around this one point through this low gap. I was like, okay, cool. I probably should go up there now, but I want to wait and see what he's actually, if they do it again. Came right back out that low gap. I was like, I'm going to be right at that low gap. Went up to that low gap right around 9 in the morning. I looked out, mile away, give or take, maybe mile and a half. Look up. There's the bachelor herd of elk just walking casually out the same ridge system, but a mile and a half away. Like it would have taken me an hour and a half to get out to where those elk were with the terrain and stuff. So it's like the elk just, to them, it's nothing. They're like, oh, I'm going to go feed in this field, and if I end up on the other ridge, then I end up on the other ridge, And for us, that's like a really big deal. That's the difference between being able to shoot one and not. Whereas when you're whitetail hunting out east, it could be across, if it's across on a different point, it's like, all right, I'll take the 3-minute hike up here and try to cut the deer off or whatever it may be.
Right.
It's just so, and also the elk are so migratory. Deer, at least in the Appalachians, aren't migratory. So like the deer aren't, if it snows, the deer aren't going to be like 10 miles away,
Right.
Like they're not going to drop off the mountain and be down in the fields. It's like, if it snows for the deer in the Appalachians, they're just like, well, this day's going to suck a little bit more than the last. And they just keep on trudging. So
now, did you just do day trips, or did you guys stay in the mountains for the time you hunted?
For
Were
elk?
you back at the trailhead? Yeah. Did you come back to back to the car?
Yeah, we went back to the trailhead. It's rough. So, like, for example, that one hunter that we ran into that shot that bull elk, he was like, it snowed 20 inches one night and almost collapsed my tent. And then the next night, the winds were 50 miles an hour and it hit -5 degrees and my water froze solid in my tent and I had to go down to the creek in the morning. So it's like, these are not like these, you know, and I have my dad with me. He's getting a little older and he was, you know, he wants to kill an elk, but he's like, I don't want to kill one that badly, you know? And I was like, fair enough, you know, like, and I'm not even going to argue with that. I'm like, listen, if you're going to get a hotel room, I'm going to sit in the hotel room, you know, and I'll hike the 3-4 miles back every day if I have to. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Which may not be the best way to kill an elk, but it is, you know.
But to be honest, like when you're doing that, if you're not prepared for it, what are you going to do? Sit in the woods and be in 20 inches of snow? Like that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I've camped quite a bit in the last like 5 years, like way back in the backcountry of several different areas. But I mean, there's a point at which it's just like, what are we doing here? You know, like what are we really accomplishing? And I mean, I think that I'm just insane enough to go out and like camp in the Rocky Mountains and like get covered in 20 inches of snow to maybe have the off chance at killing an elk because I'm just so far from the trailhead. Like that's something I might do. But at the same time, I realize that I've got a screw loose and like sometimes I might do things that a lot of people probably wouldn't do.
Like go back to your truck for the bow to shoot a whitetail, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like, why would you? Most normal people would be like, well, you know where he is. Put up cameras. We'll try to pattern him and kill him in November or whatever. You know what I mean? Or he'll get spooked by a doe at some point. And I was like, yeah, but what if I just try to kill him now?
Yeah.
You know.
But if you don't get a trail camera picture of him first, did you actually really kill him? Like you have to have the trail camera picture first. Nowadays,
yeah, exactly. Right? That's what I'm saying. That dude probably had all those cameras on the ridge. He's probably like, dang, where'd that 10-point go, dude? I was really looking forward to getting that buck. He's probably like on the, you know, the hit list. He probably had a name and everything else. And I just wandered through the woods with my, you know, no camo on and just shot the deer. And was like, all right, cool.
That's what we're going to call it from now on. We're going to be like, oh, the deer must have got johned. Like it's gone.
Yeah. Some dude just blindly got lucky, but was willing to work just hard enough to accidentally kill it. Gosh,
back to like the camping thing, right? Like obviously, like from your fishing videos, like I know you do a lot of like backcountry solo camping and fishing. Yeah. I'm assuming most of it's like around home, right? So like being from the east, like it's a different world. You get into the mountains of Colorado, right? Like you're not gonna get 20 inches of unexpected snow on the east, or the severe winds. Like you know it's coming, and you know like nothing's gonna kill you.
Yeah, nothing's gonna kill you. And I mean, and all the camping, like I've done some backcountry camping. I've camped in Colorado, and I did some backcountry camping in California and stuff, for all fishing related. But it's just different because during hunting season, it's like the mountains turn into totally different. You know, like I'm geared up pretty well. Like I know what I need to go camp in the mountains, like in the Rocky Mountains, and you know maybe July or even June through, let's say, maybe September. But once you start getting in October and the temperatures are hitting like -5 sometimes, and it snows, the weather up there is unpredictable. So like more than once we were driving, it's totally sunny, and then we drive to go up over a pass and it was just a blizzard, you know. And what, you sit out and camp in that. So it's just a different ball game. Not to say I wouldn't do it, because I probably would, but I don't know. It's just a little bit. It's just a lot. Like the preparation it takes to get to that point would be pretty intense, I'd assume. I'd also have to buy new gear, because like all my sleeping bags are down to like, I don't know. Most of the ones that I use in a lot of my camping, I get down to like maybe like 20-degree sleeping bags or something like that. Because I'm like, realistically, it's not going to get below that. I think I have one 0-degree sleeping bag that I bring out. But 0 degree ain't going to do anything if it's -5. I mean, like a 0-degree sleeping bag keeps you alive at 0 degrees, but you ain't sleeping at 0 degree. You know what I mean? So like my rule of thumb is if it's going to get into the 20s, I want a 0-degree sleeping bag.
Right.
So if I think it's going to get to 0, I need like a negative whatever. I don't know how good the sleeping bags are, but I'm sure they make some really good sleeping bags. They're like negative 20, but that's what I need for that. But then you're spending so much more money, and at some point you got to look at it and be like, man, I'm spending $800+ on an elk tag, $400+ on a plane ticket, you know, $500 plus on lodging, $500 on food and other miscellaneous things that you decide you need. It's like at some point you gotta look and be like, dude, I gotta stop spending money if this elk is even gonna be remotely like, you know, worth the juice is gonna be remotely worth the squeeze. So.
Yeah, because it's super expensive to begin with. Right from the start, like it's $800.
I jokingly said I was like, I'm $1,500 in the hole before I even really step onto the mountain, because by the time, as I said, $830 for the tag, $400 and something for the plane ticket. You know, that's already over $1,200 in. And then if you buy any snacks, any food, any water, which you have to buy, now you're at $1,500. And I haven't even done I haven't done anything yet. I haven't even stepped foot on the public land yet, and I'm already $1,500 in the hole.
Ooh,
so
that hurts the soul.
Yeah, it does. And it hurts even worse when you leave and you didn't kill an elk, and you're like, well, donated that $1,500 to Colorado. Some of it to the Parks and Wildlife and some of it to local business. I guess I could say it went to a somewhat good cause, but doesn't help me any.
And that builds the pressure too at that point, right? Because you're like, this is a lot of money out, and you want to be able to shoot an elk or anything, even any type of travel hunting, any type of travel fishing. Like it's got to be on, and it builds that pressure that you spend all this money, and like it just builds that animosity like in yourself.
What my dad said something. We were hiking out into the wilderness on like the last morning that we were going to be there before we left, and he was like, we couldn't kill an elk right now and get it out of here in time to catch the flight. And I just looked at him. I said, I spent $1,500 to start with. I was like, I'll delay the flight. If there's an elk steps out, it's getting shot. If it's a legal elk according to my tag, like if it's a scraggly 4x4, it's getting shot. I spent $1,500 just to get out here, Yeah, so it does build a little bit of like, you're just like, if I have a chance, this is $1,500 that I put on the line, probably more like 2,000 plus that I put on the line to come out here and try to kill one of these things. That's like, I'm going to try to make it happen.
No matter what, that's hard to not have that kind of pressure, right? But the one thing that I always tell myself, I go on a bear hunt every year, outfitted, I pay a guide or whatever, and like people always ask, oh, how much is it? And you tell them, and they're like, oh, you pay that much just to shoot a bear? And it's like, well, no, I'm paying for an adventure. I'm paying for the experience. Like, this is a vacation for me. This is a week in the Canadian wilderness and like the camaraderie, and I get to kill a bear while I'm there, right? But like, I kind of tell myself, like, you can't look at it like X amount of dollars to kill a bear. It's correct. It's the whole package, and like that always kind of eases my mind to like, even if I don't kill, did I get $1,500 worth of memories and experience and time with your dad and your brother and all this stuff? Absolutely, right?
That's what I was gonna say. I said, like, I told my wife when I got back home, I was like, I might have spent a bunch of money, but like it was worth it. Because for one, dude, when you're hiking up where those elk are in the Rocky Mountains, like every single time you turn, like if you just take a second and breathe and look at where you're at, you gotta like pinch yourself. I had way too many pictures on my phone just taking random shots of the mountains and stuff, because you end up getting up really high and you can see everything because you're glassing, and it's like you could see so much cool stuff. And I'm spending time with my dad and my brother and everything else. So it's like, it's totally worth it. I'd do it again. And like, I ran into one elk hunter, and when he heard that it was like only my second season, elk hunting Colorado, my first season with a tag, he was like, listen, he was like, you probably have to donate 2, maybe 3 seasons. He literally said donate a season. to scouting, essentially, where he's like, you're going to be hunting, but it's just going to be this steep learning curve. And then eventually it's going to click, and then you're going to start actually being able to get elk. But he's like, you're probably, unfortunately, especially if you're doing like do it yourself, like you're not hiring a guide, you're not doing, whatever, you're not hunting private land. If you're going to hunt like public land bulls, OTC, like there's going to be a learning curve, and you may not get a bull every year, even after you figure it out. But I did talk to that one hunter, and he's been hunting elk for 37 years, and there's only ever 5 years that he didn't kill bull elk on public land.
Wow.
So
it's
possible.
Like he's a Colorado resident.
He was, he was from Wisconsin, but he lived in Colorado now. So like, I think at the first, who knows how many years, he was like an out-of-state resident coming in and hunting, and now he lives somewhere around there.
That's awesome.
So he really bit the tag, and he moved all the way there so that he could.
Yeah.
He went all the way there, and that dude's hardcore. As I said, like he was hiking like 6-7 miles one way, and camping and hiking in and out every single day, getting his bull elk out. And he told me that he had like his wife had a mule deer tag for the second season, so he's essentially getting his bull elk back out, going home, cutting it up, and then coming back out with his wife for mule deer season.
Oh my
God.
That dude's winning at life.
Yeah, he's having fun for sure.
Yeah. Trev, I just realized this podcast just started like so fire. We didn't even do like a who you are, where you're from, and a little bit.
I don't think it really mattered. I don't think it even matters. We started talking about killing deers on foot, and it didn't matter.
37 minutes in, and we haven't even talked to John about what he actually really is known for. which I absolutely love, by the way.
Yeah, dude. People all the time, they're like, dude, are you gonna like post videos of your hunts, or like, talk about hunting more? And I'm like, I'd be down to do it, but the problem is like hunting is still the thing to me that it's like, dude, if that deer steps out, I'm not gonna make sure the camera's on it. You know what I mean? Like I'm hunting to get the deer. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, unless I can convince somebody to follow me around with a camera at all times, like the odds of me putting out like a filmed hunt is very slim, because it's just like, it's like hunting is one of the things where it's like, that's the one thing that I have like to myself. So it's like, when I go out there, I'm usually by myself. There's nobody with me. And because it's so hard to film when you're by yourself, it's like, I may never film a hunt, or maybe I will. Maybe I'll start doing it next year. I don't know. But yeah, people ask about it all the time. That's my point.
I actually I love that, the fact of that, right? Because you, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, but like, you're basically like full-time fly fishing, like video content fly fishing. Like you're videoing all your fly fishing. So like when you hunt, like that's for you. Like that's a hobby. Like fly fishing, as much of a hobby it is, it's still kind of a job for you, right? So like you get to step away from that, distance yourself from that side of it, and be like, I'm just gonna go hunt to hunt.
Yeah. I mean, I still fly fish even when I'm not filming. I actually still fish all the time when I'm not filming. I just went out today, and I didn't even put the GoPro on for the first 2 hours because I was like,
really?
Yeah, I do it. I probably shouldn't do it, because then in the back of my head, I'm like, dude, if I catch some crazy fish and I'm not recording, I will never forgive myself for this. But yeah, I still do it from time to time. I mean, I still actually truly enjoy fishing. Like I do it because I have a passion for it, So, but at the same time, you're right. Like when I'm going on a trip to Colorado to fish, like I'm filming the whole time. Like the whole thing's been like, I'm getting off the airplane knowing that this is going to be the start of a video. So it does take on like a different light than it would when I got off the plane in Colorado and I was going elk hunting. And I had like no plans to film. It was just like, all right, let's see if we can find an elk in this 7 days of being out here or whatever it was. So yeah.
So my question is this, and I know, and it personally has happened to me, but like when you take on that responsibility of it being a job, does it change your outlook for it at any way, shape, or form? Like fishing wise?
I don't know. I don't feel like it has. And I don't know why, because like my parents and stuff, when I told them I was like I just want to do YouTube. Like, I don't like, I feel like every kid says that, but I guess I was actually in college. So I was a kid, but you know, old enough. I was like, I really just want to do this for a living. Like, if I could make enough money to do YouTube for a living and just go fishing and hunting all the time, like that's the dream. My mom was like, her one concern was like, isn't it going to change? Like, if it's a job, are you going to have fun doing it? And I still do have fun doing it. I think the only time I feel pressure is like on the off seasons, like especially the winter when I struggle to catch fish. There does sometimes get to a point where I'm like, gosh, I really need to figure out how to catch a fish somewhere to make a video. You know, like I got to figure something out to do something. I got to go on a trip. I got to do something to get something going. But I don't like necessarily feel that in my day-to-day fishing. Like I don't go fishing with the thought of like, oh, dude, like I've got to get this fish, like regardless of what's going on. You know, I'm kind of still pretty chill about it. I don't, at least up to this point, it hasn't really tainted how I feel about fishing. So,
I will say this, John, as a consumer of yours, 100% get that vibe from your videos. Like you just like nothing's forced. Everything's like super chill. It's like so organic and natural. And I think that's what the best part about your channel is. Like you can turn on other people's content and you're just like, dude, like this is kind of corny, right? Like,
oh, I know. Like you click on it and you're like, what's up, guys? Like, welcome back to the video. We're going to be doing the most amazing thing ever today. And I'm like,
no,
there's no way you can know that you're going to do anything amazing today. Whereas I'm just, I do think that, I mean, it can't hurt. I don't know if that's why it's been so successful, but it can't hurt that like I genuinely am just out there to have fun and catch fish. And like, if it doesn't happen, the footage gets deleted. And if it does happen, I'm like, heck yeah, dude, let's go. That's a crazy story that I just happened to come into, you know? And I've learned that like, if you're willing to work hard and, you know, whether that be hunting or fishing, if you're willing to work hard, like if you're willing to see the big buck and then like walk a 3-mile round trip up a straight up and down mountain to go and get your bow and come back and try to kill it, sometimes it works out. You know, same thing when you're fishing. If you're willing to put in the effort and fish 3, 4, 5 days, you know, in a row, if you have the ability to, sometimes it's going to work out. And you just have to be ready when it works out and have the ability to like, you know, put it all together and get the fish in the net or make the shot on the deer, whichever one it may be.
It's crazy. So I have a question for you. So, like we talked off air, like I've really only been following you probably 6 months or so, you know? And I know you've been at it for quite some time. Like how long it's taking you some pretty wild adventures, like all over the country with all different species. Like how long were you going at it before you like decided you were going to like step out of your neighborhood and like start hitting other states and like Arizona, like Apache trout and all kinds of crazy adventures?
I don't know. I mean, the first multiple years that I fished, the first multiple years I had the YouTube channel, I didn't fish anywhere but my home state for the most part. I think some of the first trips I went on was maybe to like the White River or something, but that's only because I knew some guy out there. Like I wasn't like actually like blazing a trail or fishing somewhere I'd never been. It was somewhere I'd never been, but like I knew people that lived out there and stuff.
At Midway USA, we put customers first. The Nitro Express shipping system is icing on the cake. It was a big investment of time and money to take super fast, low-cost shipping to a whole new level. The Nitro Express helps ensure same-day shipping and low shipping costs. We hope you enjoy the Nitro Express. We built it just for you. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to MidwayUSA.com.
I'm Larry Potterfield with Midway USA. Thanks for your business.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
So I would say it wasn't until like the YouTube channel actually started having some amount of revenue. Because like I started the channel when I was a senior in college. I had no money. And then when I first got out of college and had my first job, it's like I still had no money. I lived with my parents. I didn't have any money. I had no ability to like get on a plane and fly across the country, or buy different licenses for different states, and spend the money in hotel rooms and everything else. Like it wasn't something that I could feasibly do, or at least not very often. But then when I started making some money, it was like, okay, well now this like awards me the ability to go out and do some like cool trips that I'd always had on the bucket list, or just go out west and fish the Rocky Mountains, which was some of the first trips I made, was like out to Colorado and stuff. And then it's just grown from there. I mean, now I do it full time, so like I still fish around my home area, but basically sometimes I'm just like, well, I just want to do something. Either I want to do something different because I'm sick of fishing the same area, or I'll just be like, the content's kind of like the last 8 videos have been from, my immediate area. Maybe I'll do something different just to switch it up and get viewers interested again. But it's always somewhere that I want to go. It's like, all right, like I want to go to Arizona because I've never been to Arizona and I want to catch the Apache trout. So I made a trip to go out to do the Apache trout thing. Or like, I think Andrew, my brother, and we were just talking, and I think we're going to maybe go up and try to catch big lake trout out of the Niagara River. Like all these are things that it's just like, what, let's try to do that, and we do everything like DIY, like public access stuff. So it's like, it takes some amount of planning, and like, there's no guarantee that it's going to work out. But like, I usually have some amount of fail safe. So I'm like, all right, well, if I can't catch this fish, then I'll drive like an hour south to an area that I'm pretty sure I can catch a fish and do that, or something different. Because I guess there is some amount of pressure on those trips. It's like, all right, I'm spending money to go do these things.
Right.
It's like I got to have at least some return on something, or I probably wouldn't be very good if I kept doing it with no return.
That's bad. It's a bad business decision.
Yeah, it'd be bad. It's not. Definitely the accountants. If I had accountants that looked at my business dealings, they'd be like, "You need to stop spending so much money going out west because you are not making the money back on these trips." I'd be like, "Well, but it's fun, so
it's worth it." Yeah. John, what did you go to school for? What did you originally think that you were going to do before you took on the whole fishing YouTube?
I went to college and got a geology degree. So I have a bachelor's degree in geology. And then for a while I worked for the state of Florida as a injection well specialist / inspector, which was like a geology, like they have underground injection control wells in Florida, and if you live in Florida, like they inject everything underground. Like they have to treat it, like wastewater and everything else gets treated. It gets ejected or injected into the ground and stuff like that. So I had to inspect those, but it was really boring because I was just like walking up and like you can't see what's going on underground. So you'd look at some charts and some graphs, and then you'd like, I mean, the biggest violation I could usually write was like they didn't have the correct paint color on one of the wellheads. It was like stuff I was just like, this is so boring, and I don't even know if I'm doing anything to like, I don't feel like I'm making a difference or doing anything here. And then I worked for the state of West Virginia as a construction stormwater inspector. That job was more fun because I was inspecting construction sites to make sure like the water quality leaving the construction sites was good, which was more exciting because I was literally making sure that the water quality running into the creeks was clean. And then on the weekend, I'd go fish those creeks, essentially. So I was like making sure the water was clean that was going into the creeks that I was going to fish. So that was a cool job. But at some point it was like, oh, well, like what I was making doing YouTube was like the same as what I was making working for the state. And I was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm young. Like if I quit and the YouTube thing doesn't work out, then like, so be it.
I'll just go get a job.
I'm never gonna regret trying to do YouTube full time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never gonna regret like taking a year off or 2 years off and like running around the country, fishing different places, like catching all the native trout, or, having the ability, because I set my own schedule, to take like a week off to deer hunt for rifle season in West Virginia, and also a week off to go elk hunting in Colorado, and then also a week off, the next week to go chase lake trout with my brother, and then a week off, to chase Erie, PA, steelhead, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to regret that amount of time. So if it didn't work out, which it has so far, but if it, for some reason tomorrow, YouTube was like, well, we're not paying creators anymore, I'd just be like, well, I have the degree, I have 5 years of experience, I'll go get a job, and I won't regret what I've done. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. No.
So.
I do have kind of a technical fly fishing question. I might as well ask because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, what's up? 50 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
anyways, about fly fishing.
Yeah. It seems about normal around this place. No. So when you start to get into that cold water fly fishing, like what are kind of like your go-to techniques when those waters are really starting to get super cold?
Yeah, I mean, fish get lethargic just like we do. Like, if it gets cold outside, we're not running around outside frolicking in the meadow. We're like, dude, we'll go outside to get to the car, and that's it. So, like, fish are the same way. They just they'll sit there on the bottom of the stream. Like, I've caught trout with, like, their bellies were covered in mud because they'd just been laying on the bottom of the creek before I caught them. Like, literally not moving. So, like, with that in mind, most of the techniques I use, like, I'll like tight line nymph or like Euro nymph, which is just like I essentially just fishing as slowly as possible and like getting the fly in front of the fish's face. It's just like, that's all I'm trying to do. It's usually not rocket science. It can still be difficult, like frustratingly difficult, but just low and slow. And then
Smaller?
also just knowing where the fish tend to hang out. Like, in the winter, the fish aren't going to be sitting in the really fast water. Like, why would you run on a treadmill when it's 20 degrees outside? We'd never do that. No. If we have to go out and sit in the cold, we're sitting. People are the same way. Fish are the same way as people. If they have cold water, they're sitting in that like slack water, slack pocket, deep water in a hole that they don't have to use much energy, and they're just hanging out. So if you can identify those places and then fish slowly and down to them, then you can usually at least find a couple.
And are you downsizing flies even smaller like this time of year, or what's kind of like that attack?
Not really. I mean, sometimes it depends a lot on the situation, which, I mean, that's true with anything. Hunting's the same way. I mean, you guys know hunting's the same way. Like, someone can ask you a question and be like, depends. Like, which way's the wind blowing?
Yeah.
Fishing's the same way. It's like, I mean, sometimes you want to downsize, like maybe if you're at a tailwater because there's no bugs hatching.
Right.
You might want to downsize because the fish are eating little midges and stuff. But then if you're fishing a wild trout stream that doesn't get a whole lot of fishing pressure, and you might want to throw a big stone fly, like a really big fly, because the fly is so big, the fish might see it and spend an extra amount of energy to go get it because it's a bigger meal. It's like if you have a choice between eating a single fry or a big cheeseburger, it's like, I'm going to go for the cheeseburger. So like sometimes using a bigger fly in the winter isn't bad because it might get the fish to move a little bit more. So yeah, the answer is sometimes, yeah, you do want to throw smaller flies.
Yeah. No. I think it
depends on where you're at,
Yeah. No, and you got to feel it out, right? And you kind of, everyone says there's no written documentation that you have to use a stone fly on December 1st or you have to use a 22 midge on December 21st, right? Like it is what it is, and it's all situational.
And sometimes I found that, like, on some of the more popular rivers, read and just see what the all the fly shops or all the guides or whoever, like, just like Google like whatever the popular river is that you're going to, and if they're all like, yeah, we use size 22, 6x tippet or 7x tippet, like the small flies that you could barely see on the tip of your pinky and all this stuff, that's how you catch the big ones. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw the biggest flies I have. Because those fish haven't seen it. Everybody's throwing this small stuff. They see something big, they're like, oh, there's an actual meal for once in my life. Like, I've gone to some really pressured rivers and thrown huge streamers or big flies and just caught the crap out of the fish and been like, I don't know why people are telling you guys to all use these small midges when, like, So
And that's everlasting. Like,
So, right? 'Cause
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if you think about it, right? Like, they need calories to survive, and would they rather like dart out and eat 100 midges, or go out and
Yep.
eat a couple stoneflies because their
Mm,
return on investment, like we were talking about earlier, it's
yeah.
worth
Yep.
it to spend that energy to get that bigger meal, and then they can go back and get those calories. So it makes
Exactly.
sense.
And like they'll be eating. They eat midges and little things all the time, but they're just like sitting there in the current like this, and they might move this far. Like they might go like this and eat a midge or something that's coming through. But that requires you to make a cast and put that fly right on that fish's head. Whereas if you throw a bigger fly, they might see it and go way out of the way to eat a bigger fly because it's worth their effort. It's worth the calories they burn to get the more get more calories. So yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do. That goes for all times a year. That's not just a winter thing.
Yeah.
Go against the grain
So.
sometimes, right? Just try it to see if it'll try. Like,
100%.
It's
I don't
like-
care. I don't care how pressured a river is or how many fly fishermen are sitting there saying like, "Oh, you have to use the smallest thing and they only require like very delicate casts and stuff." Go up to a spin fisherman and ask them what they're throwing. They're not throwing a size 26 midge. They're throwing a stinking giant jerkbait or a big spinner, and they're catching fish too. So like, there's not one right way to do things. Yeah.
well, I think we get into this narrative that this is what you have to do on a certain time of the year because somebody told me what you have to do, right? Like, you go to those local fly shops and those guys are all running 26 midges, and you're like, oh, well, I got to do the same thing too, right? But you could go up there and throw a number 2 stonefly and just smack them right in the face, like it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, sometimes they can. I mean, they always give you decent information,
Right.
But like, the fly shops also aren't going to tell you where like the actual best spots are to fish. Usually, like they're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, dude, like if you really want to catch like a 30-inch fish, just go out back there." They're not going to say that. They're going to tell you to go down to that one spot with all the other people, because they have a business to run and they want you to buy flies and be successful, but they also aren't going to like ruin their best spots,
When I
or
worked
the places where the guides might take clients or whatever it may be. So
when I worked in a shop, I would tell them to go to check out certain spots, so they would like scout for me. I'd be like, "Yeah, go down here and check this spot out. Let me know how you do."
I would do the same thing, dude. I would do the same thing. I remember there's one guy one time I met him. There's actually a creek or a river in West Virginia, and I was fishing, and I saw these guys, and they recognized me, and I was talking to them a little bit. And they said they hadn't caught a fish all day. And I was like, well, what are you throwing? And he showed me this thing, and it was like a weightless woolly bugger. And he was using floating line. I was like, is that thing even sink? He said, not really. And I was like, who told you to throw that? He was like, the guy at the fly shop told me to throw that. And I was like, take that off immediately. And I gave him a different fly. Because I was like, that is never going to work. I don't know why he would tell you to throw that, other than he just didn't want you to catch it. I truly don't know why anybody would tell someone to throw a weightless woolly bugger. Like, oh, he gave him a sinker or something, but it's like, in what universe was that going to work? And the water was high and muddy. It was just like, anyways, after that, I kind of started thinking, I was like, you know what, maybe like, fly shops can be a wealth of information, but they also may not tell you everything exactly accurate. So
well, they have a narrative where they have to sell stuff, right? So like what we would do when we were guiding, and then we would go back to the shop, we would literally tie on all kinds of lures that we wanted to sell at the end of the day, because guys would walk by the truck and they would see certain lures, like, oh, like we had whatever it was, and you would tie it on there and be like, oh, we have a surplus of this, we need to sell this, so we put one or two on a rod, and then guys would walk in there and be like, oh, dude, Cap's fishing with that, and then we would burn through them for the day. That's how
that's
you do
hilarious. See, I don't pay that much attention. I'll just be walking. I'll be like, I don't know what's going on. And the other thing is, like, I've fly fished long enough now that I kind of know what I'm going to use.
Right.
So like guys will be like, I would use this, this, and this, and I'll pick up a couple of those flies maybe, but I'm always picking up the flies that I want to use because like the flies that I know are gonna work. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna. There's one guy just talking to me, and he was like, he was telling me all these flies I needed to buy, and I picked up a few of them, but I was like, I'm not using these flies. And then finally he was like, he said something like, what are you? I think I was in Wyoming, and he was like, are you just going for cutthroat? And I was like, mostly. And he was like, oh, well, now we get these flies over here. And I was like, no, I'm aware. Like I already picked up those flies. These ones I'm just picking up just so that I have a fly that I can use when I get back home because I like the look of them or whatever. But it was just like he had this like set of flies that he was telling me to buy, and I was just like, I don't want these flies. I don't know why you're telling me to buy these flies. They're not going to work for where I'm going. But yeah.
Or maybe
I think
he
was also an older guy, so who knows if he even understood what I asked him to begin with. So it's possible.
And you have to have that confidence in that stuff that you're using anyways, right? Like I think that's 95% of it is if you're not confident in it, you're not going to fish it. So it's just going to sit in your box. If you're confident in it, you're going to throw it a ton, and the chances. It's like going deer hunting every single day. If you go deer hunting every single day, you're going to see deer, right? But if you only go once a week, then you're not you're not going to see as many deer. So it's the same with the fly. If that fly does 250 drifts, it might catch 3 fish. But if you only drift it 3 times, it might not catch a fish.
Well, I said, like, fishing is so much confidence. Like, you're going to fish so much better if what's on the end of your line you think is going to catch a fish. Like, if you put on a fly that you don't think is going to work, watch how quickly your concentration starts to waver. You're all of a sudden thinking about, like, work the next day, or you're sitting there thinking about, like, where's the next spot I'm going to fish or whatever it may be. And you're not even paying attention to, like, where you're fishing or what you're casting at or whatever. And then you don't catch as many fish. So it's like, I always start with something I'm confident in until I'm proven otherwise, usually.
Yeah. Steve, what do you do?
I don't know, dude. I'm still trying to figure it out, man. So many freaking variables, man. So many variables,
That's the fun in it, though. I told people, like, with, like, fly fishing, like, the reason I like fly fishing so much is that it's almost never the same. Right. And there's so many variables that I can tinker with that, like, I don't see an end in sight where I'm going to get bored with it. Dude, because it's like, if I get to one thing where I feel like, oh, I kind of have an idea of how to do this, all I have to do is wake up one day and be like, I'm going to catch them a different way. Yeah. And all of a sudden I might as well be starting from near zero, So it's like, there's so many different things you can mess with in fly fishing that is just, it's what makes it so much more fun, in my opinion, than like spin fishing or whatever it may be.
I'm a huge rabbit hole guy. Like, every week I'm on a different rabbit hole, right? Like, I just get obsessed with something. I'll YouTube it and just absorb as much knowledge as I can. And then eventually I kind of like, all right, I'm kind of repeating myself here, like, on to the next thing, right? And then I started, like, going down the fly fishing rabbit hole, and I'm like, dude, I don't think there's a bottom to this hole. Like, there's no bottom.
Not that I've found.
No. But I agree with you. Like, there's sometimes where, like, like, I'll be, I'm, like, super new to it. So, like, I'll figure out, like, a nymph with an indicator. Like, I know I can catch a fish like that. It's like, I don't want to catch a fish with an indicator and a nymph today, so I'm going to force some dry flies. Like, I might not catch a fish on it, but I'd rather, like, I can sit there and just play with a dry fly all day and have a blast. Yeah. Where, like, I might be able to catch a fish with a different method. I just don't want to do it. Like, I have fun trying different things,
Well, and then, like, for me, like, I started off the same way. I started off throwing an indicator, with a couple nymphs on there. And then I went away from it. I hadn't indicator nymphed in years. Like, I mean, probably 5-6 years. And then just in the past year, I went back and I started indicator nymphing again. But I'm so much better at fly fishing. I'm just a way better angler than I was back when I did it originally. So now I'm having all this newfound success throwing indicator rigs, like nymphing with indicator rigs, because I know how to mend my line better. I know how to run current seams better. I can read the water. I know how the fish are laying. So now it's like, all right, well, I know where the fish generally should be, so I'm going to try to get my fly there. And I'm learning that sometimes the best way to do it is with an indicator. And it was just like a part of my, fly fishing arsenal that I had kind of refused to use for a long time. And now that I'm getting back into it, I'm like, this might be one of the most effective ways to catch trout, especially on, like, a little bit bigger water and stuff like that. Now I'm like, everywhere I go, I'm like, I wish I had an extra indicator, because I'd rather be indicator nymphing, because I think that that's how I'm going to catch the fish in this situation.
You think over tight line nymphing
What is it?
Like over tight line nymphing is better than indicator nymphing?
Yeah, I mean, I've had more success with at least larger fish doing that. I think there's like, it's undeniable a little bit that like if you can get the problem with indicator nymphing is that your fly is sitting at like a certain depth, let's say 3 feet below the indicator. So is that like the riverbed or the creek bed is never just going to run 3 foot all the way through the whole hole. And actually, usually where the trout are sitting are in little dips or buckets or something like that. So when you're throwing an indicator, a lot of times you're asking a lot of the trout to come up and eat your fly, because you might be running it at 3 foot, but the fish are sitting in a bucket at 5 foot. So then now they have to move 2 feet to get to your fly. Whereas if you're tight line nymphing and you have control over how deep that fly is, like now if I'm tight line nymphing and I can feel my fly ticking bottom, or I can feel it like in the bottom, like the bottom couple inches of water, and then it hits a bucket, I can just drop my rod tip and all of a sudden it's 2 foot down on the bottom of that bucket too. And that's where the fish are going to be sitting anyway, especially the bigger fish.
Right.
So we found that when we started tight line nymphing, the amount of big fish that we caught skyrocketed. And I still think if the creek or the river or whatever you're fishing is the right size to where you can like easily tight line nymph through sections of water, it's still probably, or definitely is, the most effective way. But then what I've learned recently is that when you're on bigger water, that's hard to tight line nymph. Sometimes just running an indicator down a long run or a long section of water that you just can't tight line nymph very well, results in catching some really big fish, especially in water where people are trying to because tight line nymphing / Euro nymphing is kind of like taking over fly fishing, so to speak.
Right.
And especially in like the Northeast, a lot of guys do it, and there's a lot of really good anglers that do it. So I think now it's getting to the point where some of the bigger fish now aren't sitting in those same runs, and like some of the bigger fish I'm now finding in areas that are like really hard to tight line nymph. Not all the time, but I got some big fish in the past year that I don't think I could have tight line nymphed, and that could be why they're there, because like the really good fly anglers that are running around with Euro rods, myself included, either passed up the spot totally or tried to fish it unsuccessfully and then moved on really quickly.
So yeah, and especially to be versatile and do things differently, right? Like that's crazy because anything. A lot of fish, they educate themselves to a lot of different things, like.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy because just over time they just start to understand it. It's like a deer in the Midwest. Every drainage ditch, the deer looks up as it walks down the drainage ditch because it knows that the deer stands are there. And it's probably the same with fish. And you see these big fish that are in wild streams that are super smart and they don't get caught a lot. And it's only certain times of the day or certain areas that they get caught in.
The same way that now a lot of times, like, this is a phenomenon that I think happens across the U.S., probably across North America, is that oftentimes now deer walk and they look up in trees. And they're walking through the woods. Do you think they did that before people had tree stands? Heck no. That's a learned behavior that they've been hunted from people sitting up in trees. So now they start looking up in the trees or something. I don't know how many freaking does. And a climber. I've never been in this tree in my life, and a doe just be walking and just be like, and just peg me, and I'm like, well, dude, what's even the point of being up here? I'd rather just be standing on the ground. You're gonna see me either way. Why am I putting all this effort in?
It's gonna be on the ground in your sun hoodie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it was. That's it.
You're wearing camo, I bet, and you're climber, right?
Yeah, I was. That's the problem.
There's the cheat code.
Fish are the same way. Though. I mean, especially when a lot of people are catch and release now. It's like, dude, if a fish is 20 inches, he's been caught at least 2 or 3 times, I'm sure of it. And how did he get caught? So there's going to be a point at which, and I think it's probably going to slowly start happening, where fish are going to get kind of wise to the game. And I don't know what the next, like, iteration of, like, the tight line nymphing boom is going to be for fly fishing, or maybe not even for fly fishing, but for, like, me personally. But, like, when I first started tight line nymphing, it was just like, I catch big fish way more than I ever thought, like, dreamed was possible. And now I think it's probably, I don't know, I shouldn't say this for certain, but I think it's probably slowing down a little bit. Like I find it more difficult. Like I'll even see some big fish in a hole and I'll think, here it is. Nothing. Switch flies, nothing. And I know I'm dragging that nymph past that fish's face and he's just not interested. But it's like, yeah, dude, I've probably caught the fish 3 times. I mean, maybe not, but like, it's like at some point the fish are going to learn. And I think there's even maybe a study done on that, like how quickly fish learn, like that's not good, that is good, you know, and is that passed from like generation to generation? And I think they found that like some of that stuff is passed on.
Really? That knowledge of it?
Yeah, I'd have to, don't quote me on that because there was some, I was reading about it or read about it in an article or something where they were trying to test whether fish like pass things on from generation to generation. And like, because they were talking about how like, you know, like as a fisherman, you might notice like, this is my golden fly. Like this fly catches fish all over the place. And then like 5 years later, all of a sudden you can't catch a fish on that fly to save your life. It's like, what's changed? Maybe nothing. Maybe the fish have just learned that fly is not to be messed with. And I've even noticed it like for us, like we'll have like a fly that works really well and we'll use it for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then before long, we realize this fly's not working so well. And then we'll find a new fly that we like a lot and we'll use it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. There's a fly I'm using right now that I love to death, but I've noticed slowly that it's not doing quite as well as it used to. And I have a buddy, I fishing with a buddy this past spring, and he just switched some flies around and all of a sudden caught fish in the same hole that I was just fishing. And I was like, huh, like, is it possible that these fish are like maybe not so keen to eat this style of fly anymore just because they, you know, not me specifically, but people in general have been fishing it with that type of fly a lot more than there was before. So I don't know.
What type of fly are we talking? Like not specifically what fly, but is it a nymph or streamer or dry?
Yeah, like nymph. Like these are like these were just like Pat's rubber legs. Like he used to do really well on Pat's rubber legs.
Yeah.
Recently, can't catch many fish on Pat's rubber legs.
Really?
Gotcha.
Don't know why.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's not like nothing should have changed. And then like I even changed. I'd like changed up my Pat's rubber. Like I got a different like iteration of a Pat's rubber leg. Started using that and it was catching more fish than just a regular Pat's rubber leg. It's gotten to the point now where I don't even like Pat's rubber legs anymore. It used to be one of my, well, that's not true. I still like using it, but like, there's some waters that I fish now. I'm like, I don't even really like the Pat's rubber leg that much anymore. It just hasn't been working for me.
Really? So then what do you do as an imitation of a stone like that?
I mean, there's a couple other different patterns that you can use, or you just like tie your own and like put a different color on it.
Yeah, like a lighter brown
like,
or something.
Because there's like
crazy.
this 3 colors that most fly shops will sell or most online shops sell. Just use a different color. Sometimes it's literally all it takes. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy different, I don't think.
Well, it's kind of crazy talking about this. Like, are you a waterfowl hunter, John?
I'm not.
No.
Never been, actually.
So in waterfowl world, like, they came out with the Mojo ducks, right? The motion ducks. And when
I remember those commercials. Yeah.
When those things came out, I swear, like, I don't care where you were or where you hunted. When those things first came out and I first started hunting with them, it could be a 700-yard pond, and you could call ducks in from right across. You wouldn't have to call or nothing. Them things would committed, shot, done, over, game over, right? And then slowly over the years, as I started to get older, I'm like, this thing sucks. Like, this thing's scaring ducks away. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of in that same realm of all that stuff. Like, you find something that works, and then the more you use it, you're like, man, everybody's using it. It's like the Senko, right? Like for bass fishermen, the Senko. The Senko was the go-to thing. Like any type of stick bait, plastic stick bait, and it was just game over. And now everybody throws it, dude. And it's like, nope, it just doesn't fish like it used to fish.
Yeah, and I think I'm always...
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Careful, because I'm like, when I talk to people like this, I'm like, to be clear, I don't think the fish are smart.
Right.
Like I don't think they've gotten some like new amount of intelligence. I just think it's something like innate. Like it's the same way that like a big buck will be walking through the woods and all of a sudden it'll slink down and look up your direction and then scoot out. It's like, dude, I didn't even breathe. Why did you just like they have like an innate ability to like realize that they're in the presence of humans.
Yeah.
But that's not like that buck isn't smarter than the other deer.
No.
He just for some reason listens to that instinct or whatever it may be. And I think that fish, like I don't think that the trout are sitting there thinking, that dude's throwing another Pat's rubber leg. What's wrong with that guy? But I think that over time, they keep getting caught or they keep watching fish get caught on a Pat's rubber leg. And I'm just using this as an example at this point. And then at some point, they're just like, what if we just didn't eat this? And then the fish that don't eat the Pat's rubber leg naturally end up surviving because, you know, if enough fish get caught, eventually one of them dies or whatever it may be, or maybe there's just some sort of selective process. So now all of a sudden the fish that aren't eating Pat's rubber legs are ended up breeding or reproducing more. And then you can see how before long, you know, there's a bunch of fish running around that just have an aversion to Pat's rubber legs.
Yeah.
And it may not be that specific, you know, like I'm theorizing here, but like it might be something where, you know, whatever selective reason that a certain fish has decided that it's not going to eat whatever it may be that you're throwing, not you specifically, but the mass amount of anglers are throwing. It might be something where like maybe those fish don't get stressed out during spawn because nobody's catching them, or maybe those fish, whatever, who knows what it may be, but because those fish are the ones that are healthiest, they end up reproducing more and end up, you know, all of a sudden you're not catching fish on Pat's rubber legs. I don't know.
It's super interesting.
I say all that and someone's going to be like, dude, that's total crap. That's never happened.
Yeah.
And to that person, I'll be like, prove it.
Prove it. That's new T-shirt material. Fear the Pat's rubber leg.
It makes me want to like, I want to remember that. I don't remember where I read that article and I kind of want to like reread it and like see if I can find that information. Because I was vaguely interested in it one time because I noticed that pattern. Like I would use a fly for a couple years and then it would just stop working. And then I would move to a different fly and then it would work for several years and then it would kind of stop working. Yep. I was like, why is this happening? Like there's no world that I've caught all the fish and the fish are just like, you think I'm going to get caught on that again? You know, because I don't believe that. But as I said, I don't think fish are smart enough to like, you know, after a year, they're not going to be like, wait a minute, I remember on August 2nd, I ate that orange looking fly and then, you know, I got pulled out. Like they're not going to remember that. So, you know, what is it? What is the reason why a fly stops working over time? I don't know.
I think it's with anything though, like when they come out with a new any type of new lure of any sort, spin fishing or fly fishing, like and I've seen it over the years, and especially being in the tackle world, like that lure comes out and it's the go-to lure. Like I remember in the spinning world there's it's called the dock, and it literally looks like a plastic dildo, and it's just this white, like it's a spook, right? And we would they were originated in the musky world. We brought them into the salt world, and now everybody runs them. But I remember the days when that had started, and we were importing them from actually somewhere down your way, because the musky fishermen had them, and we would bring them into the bait shop, and we were striped bass fishing with them, and we would crush fish with them, bone white.
That for my area was like, I'm sure you guys know, I've heard of know the Whopper Plopper.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
dude. I remember because I used to watch the Larry Dahlberg or whatever on like the TV, because like the Hunt for Big Fish or whatever his show was called.
Yep.
And he came out and he was like, yeah, I designed this Whopper Plopper, and like I had to make it in this huge size because muskie would swallow it and yada yada yada. And I was like, you know what, I'll get one. So I ordered a Whopper Plopper or two. And dude, I went out and I caught more smallmouth and more muskie than I had ever even imagined could have been caught. It was insane. And I was telling my buddies, I was like, dude, just get a Whopper Plopper and go out there, dude. My buddies were using it, and they're like, dude, this is magic. This is amazing. I went out this past year and I was like, I'm gonna throw the whopper plopper around for old time's sakes. Dude, I couldn't even catch a fish on the whopper plopper. I was like, what happened? You know? But it's been like a decade since then. I was like, dude, the amount of now whopper ploppers are in like every single tackle shop on planet Earth. And it's like, dude, I genuinely think that the fish are like, oh god, here comes that plop 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 again, dude. You know,
there's so
many. And the musky ones are even more obnoxious. The musky ones sound like like a boat coming across the water. It's like, it's like, dude.
That I could name 100 lures like that. The banjo minnow, the chatterbait.
Oh,
I mean, there's a million of them that were in that same realm of a lure that was like, oh, that was the go-to lure, man. You threw that, you smashed a fish. They'd swim from 100 miles away, right?
Dude, 100%.
You could only see that chatterbait commercial so many times on a Saturday morning before you ordered that kit.
Dude, yeah, man.
Oh, the banjo minnow, minnow, yeah.
Yeah, the chatter.
I had a pack of the banjo minnows that I got from that as seen on TV ad and stuff. Yeah, I mean, and I think like it's not that like a chatterbait doesn't work now, or it's not that like a whopper plopper doesn't work now. It just doesn't work like it used to. And like the guys that are using chatterbaits, or maybe not chatterbait, but the guys that might buy a whopper plopper now and they go out and they still catch fish on a whopper plopper and they're like, it's still good. What are you talking about? It's like, no. You don't know what it was like when you were the first guy to throw a whopper plopper on your smallmouth river.
So true.
Like when you were that first dude, it was dumb. I mean, stupid. I mean, fish would just like, it hit the water, like plop, 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 and poosh, they jump out of the water like great white sharks trying to eat it. And you'd catch fish that you'd be like catching 20, 22, 23-inch smallmouth on top water. It was insanity. And now it's like, you know, I mean, I'm sure it does still work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I still caught fish on the whopper plopper, but it wasn't like it used to be a decade ago when they weren't in every single tackle shop. You know what I mean?
Right.
So obviously the fish are picking up on something, you know.
So how do we mend the curve for this and we come up with the next greatest thing in the world?
I think that's what you do. You just got to keep evolving as an angler. Like you have to notice the trend and be able to be like, okay, the whopper plopper's not working as well. Like for me, like I went back. I like a spook more now because I think spooks also like they require just like a little bit more finesse or skill to work. Like you at least have to have like you can't just cast out and reel in a spook and expect it to catch a fish. And I think the spook, in my opinion, now works better than a whopper plopper. Well, now, what that version is in fly fishing, I don't know. I think you just got to like try different flies or different variations of flies because it's not like the fish aren't going to be – they're still eating, and they're still eating the same forage. They haven't stopped eating. So you just got to figure out now what's the next thing that's going to trick them, what's going to be just different enough, you know, that the fish are going to be like, oh, you know what, now I do want to eat that, you know?
So, question for you, John. Have you tried to throw a mouse fly for a brook trout yet? Since you caught the one with the mouse?
Not since I did. So a couple years ago, I made it my life's mission to catch a brook trout on a fly or a brook trout on a mouse.
Yeah.
And I did in a beaver pond at like a really high elevation beaver pond in West Virginia. I caught a brook trout on a mouse, but then I kind of gave up on it for a while. Go ahead.
Was it daylight or night?
Right before dark.
Okay.
It was daylight. I filmed it, but like it wasn't great footage, and that was the only fish I caught, and I fished for like 2 hours at that particular time. So then I was like, like I never made it a video, but it was fun. But yeah, then I catching that brook trout with the mouse hanging out, or the mouse tail or whatever hanging out of its mouth. I was kind of like, well, maybe I should put a little bit more thought into this. And I even had some guy, a couple, like two or three people DM me and be like, yeah, I throw mouse flies quite often for native brook trout, actually. And I was like, why have I never tried to do this just naturally, like on a creek or something? I don't know. I'll probably make a video. The problem is that was in the beginning of October, and that's like pretty much the end of brook trout fishing. I mean, they're probably full on spawn mode right now. Maybe, what is it, November 6th? They might even be done. But once they get finished spawning, it gets cold, and then they get really lethargic. It's a weird time of the year to catch brook trout. So I probably won't try to actually mouse for brook trout until it gets warm again, like maybe May or June or something, and then I'll try it. I'll probably make a video where I try to go out and catch fish on a mouse, because I think it would work, because they're just aggressive enough and stupid enough to chase something like that. So
Yeah, that was wild.
that was crazy.
Because
Yeah.
it didn't dawn on me at first, so we got into the mousing last summer for big browns, and it was like, it's cool as hell, like middle of the night throwing mice. And then when you caught the one with the mouse hanging out of its mouth, at first it didn't click. Like, okay, like they eat and I was like, oh, it's a brook trout, not a brown trout.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, I know. I mean, even when I caught the fish, and I was like looking at it, I was like, what is hanging out of its mouth? I tried to pull it out, think it was like a fish or something. Which was still been cool, by the way. I tried to pull it out, and I was like, what is this? And I like looked down, and I realized it got like thicker as it got down in there. And I looked out, I was like, and I like studied it really close. I was like, is this a mouse tail sticking out of this fish's mouth? And like, you know, it was like a 14-inch brook trout, so it was a nice brook trout. But like, I mean, I don't know how big the mouse was, but it was like fully being digested in its stomach while the tail was still hanging out of its mouth. So
And
yeah, that brook trout's
still
insane.
And he still wanted to eat your fly.
And he still ate my fly. Yeah, what is that fish doing, dude? That fish was hungry for some reason.
That was wild. Those beautiful fish too.
Yeah, it was a nice one. Yeah, that was probably the coolest brook trout catch I've had, just purely because of the mouse. Like, regardless of the size, even though I'd caught 3 14-inch natives up to that point. I think that was my 4th 14-inch native. So I've caught like 4 in that range. But I'm really trying to catch a 15-inch brook trout, like a native brook trout. That's like the ultimate, like, top of the line goal for any native brookie angler. And I've yet to break that. But it'll happen one day, maybe.
That's a tough enough one.
Yeah, that one's tough.
Just gotta stay after them.
Yeah, they're just so much less predictable than other fish. They migrate a lot. Like brook trout will move long distances to spawn and everything else. And realistically, the biggest brook trout are going to be in the biggest water. But like in native brook trout country in the Appalachians, like there's not a whole lot of big water that can even hold trout year round because it gets too warm.
Right.
So the big brook trout are probably sitting around springs in the bigger rivers, or at least use the bigger rivers for most of the year and then move up in the summer and the fall to spawn. You know, move up in the summer because it gets too warm and they're looking for cold water refuge, and they spawn in the fall. But the problem is they could be in a section of creek or river for 30 miles. And like, how do you predict where that's going to be on any given day? So it's really just a luck thing.
Right.
You know, but I know they exist. I just have never caught one myself.
Well, it's going to happen.
One day.
Yeah. It's going to happen on a mouse too.
It's gonna, yeah, that would be hilarious. I catch it on a mouse. Yeah, that would be insane.
Well, John, we got to get you back on in the spring to talk about some trout fishing. I know we touched just the tip of the iceberg of what it actually is for you,
for sure.
and come on and back on. But before we let you go, man, can you just answer one more question for us? And we want to know, John, what drives you outdoors?
I just like the solitude of it. I like how quiet it is in a world where, you know, most of the time there's like a billion different things going on. You're bombarded with bad news all the time. Then you go outside and you realize that, like, I don't know, none of it really matters. Like, at the end of the day, like, everybody's born, everybody dies, the cycle of life. And, I don't know. I like going fishing and hunting because it occupies my mind. Like, you can't be thinking about other things and actually fly fishing, because if you are, then you're probably not fly fishing very well and you're not going to catch very many fish. And you really can't think about many other things when you're trying to hike 3-mile round trip back to the car to get your bow to come back and try to kill a deer. So yeah, I don't know. I probably, if I thought about that, I have a much better answer, but
that's good.
I'm gonna go with that for now. When I come on again in the spring, I'll have a more well thought out answer.
That's a very well-rounded well-rounded answer. I love it. John, since you didn't get much of an intro, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and kind of follow along with you, what you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to find me is just look up Hardman Fishing Adventures on YouTube. That's where most of my content is, but I also have Instagram, have Facebook. I have TikTok, even though I don't post as much on TikTok as I do the other platforms.
It's horrible.
And I have a podcast that I have posted 4 episodes on.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I'll have 10 episodes, and if I can make it there, then I'll see where I'm going from there. But yeah.
Awesome.
Keep at it, dude. I love it. I was pumped when you put that one up the other day. I was like, perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do another one. I wanted to do a podcast on this deer I killed and talk about elk season and kind of what this podcast was in general. But I can't. I've tried to collaborate with try to get my brother on like generally a time that he can hop on a call and have the podcast, and we haven't been able to record it. So they might just have to use this podcast for the hunting podcast, and then we'll just keep doing fishing podcasts for now.
John, you know what? Listen, anytime you want to record a podcast, if you need some people, just call us. We'll do a podcast with you, all right?
There we go. Yeah, I'll have you guys on. I'll have you guys on my podcast. It'll be the same thing. It'll just be on a different
platform. Yeah, that's
what I should do. I had someone comment, and they were just like, "Hey, man, like, why don't you have guests?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm 4 episodes in. What do you mean, like?" Dude, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing the podcast in a year, and you want me to have guests on?
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, but you could do it more consistently because, you know, you're not relying on like getting your brother to do things, or not to do things, but to like have a time open for us to, you know, get together and record the podcast. You could just be like, hey, you guys want to do a podcast, and hop on. That way I could have more podcasts to come out. And I was like, that would be really smart, but that also requires me to stop fishing and hunting that much and actually like send DMs on Instagram or something. So maybe after deer season,
I always tell everybody too, if they're starting a podcast and if they have a host with them, they should do 15 to 20 episodes with just the two of them. Before even having a guest on, just so you get the flow. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody comes on and they come to have a podcast, and you see these guys that have 3 episodes and they have Mike Waddell on. Okay, now you're just burning that dude's tires for no reason. You don't even know how to say and you're trying to get Mike Waddell on your hunting podcast. Like, it's just
and then also you don't really have like there's not enough like loyal viewers or whatever you want to call it, and then also there's no base there.
No,
so like who's gonna get hyped about you having Michael Waddell on there? People are gonna listen to the podcast one-off, so you have 3 episodes, and then they're gonna forget about it.
Well, they think that they're gonna get traction, and because they had a good guest on, but that's not really the way that works. But they think so.
I'm gonna hit up Michael Waddell and see if he wants to talk about fly fishing.
That's why we waited 321 episodes to have John Hardman on. Dude.
That's right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty much the Michael Waddell equivalent. That's for sure.
That's right. He did kill a really mature buck from ground in the Appalachia. I mean, come on, what's better than that? Still hunted.
Yeah, sure, it's the same thing.
You should have said you were in your socks and rode your e-bike, and then you had a saddle. You tied it around your waist.
Dude, no trail cams, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should retell the story and be like, yeah, I was using a recurve bow and I was barefoot and I hiked up the mountain and stalked the deer down.
And you kayaked in.
Yeah.
I definitely kayaked in. That's got to be how it starts. I kayaked in and hiked 10 miles one way, straight up a mountain slope. Had to get down to my bare feet to stalk down the deer. Yeah,
with the arrow backwards.
Well,
thanks. You guys have been going for 300 and some episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah,
320.
I couldn't even imagine. I'm at 4. 300 is like impossible. I don't even know if I posted 300 YouTube videos.
But you have That's a nice book. You have like 1,000 YouTube videos.
I don't know if I have that many. To be honest with you.
No, I know. I was just throwing a number out there, but you got quite a bit, man. You're pretty consistent with putting them out too.
Yeah, I try to put out one a week if I can. I'll just see how many videos.
And you've been going at it since what? 2018, 17?
Yeah, I think I posted my first video in 2018 or something like that. Oh, it's not going to tell me how many videos I have. Oh, 376.
Wow.
So I'm beating you guys by a little bit.
That's awesome.
Oh boy.
About 50 videos on you.
That's good. Keep it going.
Keep it up, dude. Because like I said, I can't say enough good things about what you got going on. I love when you
Thank
drop
you,
a new
thank
video,
you.
and I really enjoy them. Dude, I love
Yeah,
the way
for
you
sure.
talk to the fish. That's my favorite thing.
I know people love that.
Dude,
it's
I
not like
love
I do it purposely. I literally you could tell me tomorrow to be like, stop talking to the
No.
fish, and then
No.
like I will catch myself doing it as I'm doing it. I'm like, thanks, you're a king, and I release it, and I'm just like, why did I say that? That doesn't even make sense.
Dude,
Like,
but
I don't even know if that was a dude
but-
or a girl. He's a king, whoever it is.
But to my point that I said earlier, you're you. Like, you're not trying to be somebody else. Like, it's
No.
so obvious that you are genuine and just being like you. And like, dude, I love it when you're like, calm down, bro, calm down, bro.
It's like, dude, relax. If you just relax, I'm gonna let you go. You're being ridiculous right now.
I
Someone
love
said
it.
I should get "You're a King" put on a T-shirt. I was like, I really should. That's a merch opportunity. I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
That's awesome. John, thanks for joining us. Everybody, make sure to go and check out John over at Hardman Fishing Adventures, and I'll post a link here below. So we appreciate y'all, and thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoors.